Well, it looks like Trump did it. It looks like, as of right now, Trump has brought peace to the Middle East. He has united all of the countries together into a peace deal, which is something that we all thought was, I mean, basically impossible. The Middle East has been war ravaged for who knows how long. It's at least my whole lifetime of 32 years. It seemed like impossible. And it seems like here we have potential. Now, I'm not going to get too far out of myself. You know, anything could happen. One of these countries could flip out. But it seems that right now, there is peace. This is a video of Trump, the leader of Qatar, the leader of Egypt, and the leader of Turkey, all signing these joint peace deals with a bunch of leaders in the background too. There's a lot of people that showed up to this. Let me just play this real quick. This is just absolutely insane. They had the Peace 2025 here. He said it's been going on for 3,000 years. It's finally going to stop, and it's going to hold up. And just to show you how many people, how many leaders showed up to this, this is basically all the leaders getting in line to do a photo op with Trump because, you know, he's the leader of the free world. Just this is sped up. Look at this. All these people lining up. Little weirdo, weird handshake with Macron there from France. I'm not sure how many leaders from countries there were at this, but I know like there's the leader of Italy, the leader of Canada was there, a lot of the Middle Eastern countries. What I will say I think is odd is that Benjamin Netanyahu, the leader of Israel, was not here, which I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign, but I do think it's weird that he did not show up to this. And here you have another photo op. He said the biggest peace deal ever. I love how he always does this hand thing. And here's Trump speaking on it afterwards.
War in Gaza is over. Humanitarian aid is now pouring in, including hundreds of truckloads of food, medical equipment, and other supplies, much of it paid for by people in this room. Civilians are returning to their homes. The hostages are reuniting. I mean, it's beautiful. I'm just watching it backstage. The level of love and sorrow, I've never seen anything like it. It's amazing when you see they haven't seen their mother, their father. They haven't seen them in such a long time, and they lived in a tunnel, a very little tunnel, very deep. And the level of love is just incredible. It's a beautiful thing to see. It's, in one sense, it's so horrible that it could have taken place, but in another sense, it's so beautiful to see a new and beautiful day is rising, and now the rebuilding begins. The rebuilding is maybe going to be the easiest part. I think we've done a lot of the hardest part because the rest comes together. We all know how to rebuild, and we know how to build better than anybody in the world. I want to express my tremendous gratitude to the Arab and Muslim nations.
So basically he says that the hard part's over. The negotiation part, the bringing the peace, all the talk, that's the hard part is over. The easy part will be rebuilding, which I don't think it'll be easy. Gaza's pretty destroyed. So I think that's definitely going to take some time. I'm still interested to see where the funding is coming from. Trump's acting like it's coming from these other countries, and some of these the deals in the trade aren't public yet. And so I'm interested to see how that goes. I can't imagine, honestly, because the hostages that the Hamas had, 20 of them left that are still alive, were all freed. And then Israel freed, I think, 2,000 prisoners, hostages, however you want to word it. I could not imagine being like held hostage that long, not knowing when you're going to see your family again, not knowing if you're going to live the next day. I could not imagine it. So I can only imagine what those people are going through right now, all the emotions they're feeling from finally being free and able to go back home. And here's just one of the videos of people reuniting. I can only imagine what they're feeling right now. I can only imagine. Read this from Reuters. So this is basically the talk from a few days ago where they agreed to the first phase of the ceasefire plan. I want to go over a little bit of the details because, like I said, they're still kind of vague. Reuters is usually pretty reliable. So basically, there's a 20-point framework plan. I think they're on phase 2 now, but this was back when they first agreed to phase 1, which was basically releasing the hostages. So that was part of the deal at the beginning. Both sides would release the hostages. Trump says, I'm very proud to announce that both sides have agreed to it. This means all the hostages will be released soon, which will bring towards the end of the war. So this is the hostages release expected in days, which was today. So that's the first part of it. And then Arab countries say plan must lead to Palestine state. So they want a two-state solution. So what some of the critics of this deal have been saying is that Netanyahu and Israel have not agreed to that verbally or vocally, I guess. Part of this plan, the Arab countries are saying it must get to that at some point, and Hamas has said that it would relinquish Gaza governance only to a Palestinian technocrat governor supervised by the Palestinian Authority. So this has to be a part of the deal too. I guess it'll go bad. We'll see how this is going forward. I think this whole process is going to be like ongoing negotiations. Like it's not going to be like one contract and then we'll just go forward with everything. I think it's going to be, a little time consuming, but the first step with the hostages is a huge, big step. And I do think, a lot of people aren't going to give him credit. Trump 100% deserves credit for this stuff. And I want to get to people saying that too. So this is the Prime Minister of Pakistan giving a speech.
I used to say, had it not been for this gentleman, not only, who knows, India and Pakistan are both nuclear powers. Had he not intervened along with his wonderful team, during those 4 days, the war could have escalated to a level. Who would have lived to tell what happened? And similarly, here in this part of the world, in the Middle East, Mr. President, your valuable contribution along with President Sisi, I think history will remember in golden words. I wouldn't say more, except God bless you, God give you long life to serve like this for all time to come. Thank you very much.
So what he was referring to is there was this conflict between India and Pakistan that lasted a few days, and Trump basically came in there as like basically like kind of like an angry dad. He's like, okay, you guys need to knock it off now. This is the power that the U.S. president has to deal with conflicts throughout the whole country, and I feel like this is something we have definitely been missing the last 4 years because we had a puppet in the White House. So it's good to see like a strong figure that can get in there and get the job done. Now this is the president of Egypt giving his own compliment.
في خلال اتصالي بفخامة الرئيس ذكرت له ذلك بدأ قلت لفخامة الرئيس أنت وحدك القادر على تحقيق السلام في منطقتنا.
I even said that very precisely during my communication with Your Excellency, that you are the only one who is able to bring about peace and to achieve peace in this part.
بشكرك فخامة الرئيس.
I thank you, Mr. President.
ولكن عايزين نستكمل نثبت وقف إطلاق النار.
So his translator said he was the only one that he could have seen bring this peace about. I feel like a lot of these Muslim Arab countries have been wanting this stuff to be done with. They've been wanting peace, but they needed some kind of like mediator. And then that's where the United States comes in. They mediate, they get the job done thanks to Trump. Now, this is something funny. This is a woman from The View that said that if Trump is able to get the Israel hostages out, she will wear a MAGA hat.
My point when I say I'm not going to be apocalyptic, it's not changing a tune. It's not making every single thing a 5-alarm fire. Yeah. If he does good, if he gets the Israeli hostages out, I promise I will wear a MAGA hat for one day on the show and say, thank you for doing it. Yeah. She'll knock it right off my head. But like you have to be able to cheer for wins when they happen and then call out relentlessly the wrongdoing. Well,
that's 100% true. Like if you see someone, regardless of if you like them or not, if they're doing something good, you should praise them for that. And that's the thing the left is missing, especially now with this situation. So I want to show you a few people that have made some comments about, the hostages being freed and how the ceasefire is a good thing and all this stuff, but leaving out the name and praising the one person that was involved in this and pushing for this so hard. So You have Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, who obviously has been beefing with Trump the past month or two. After 2 long years being held captive by Hamas, the 20 living Israeli hostages were released and are finally home. There's still much work that remains to ensure lasting peace, but the hostage release and ceasefire serve as critical steps toward closure and hope for the future. Didn't mention how it got done. Even you got this guy right here. I noticed you didn't mention President Trump's name once in this post. Not once. Why aren't you giving credit where credit is due? President Trump has got it done. Say thank you. They can't do that. Governor Tim Walz, who almost had a copy and paste message. I wonder if they have the same intern. He says, after 2 long years, the hostages are reunited with their loved ones and the path to a lasting peace is within sight. Israelis and Palestinians have suffered immeasurable loss. I'm hopeful for a surge in humanitarian aid into Gaza as the long road to recovery begins. No mention of Trump. So we'll see. Yeah, he's not going to say anything about that. I am a little worried about the humanitarian aid thing where Trump made a comment saying there's going to be humanitarian aid flowing in because there's been reports before that Israel has a bunch of aid and refuses to hand it out and refused to for the longest time. So hopefully that does not happen. And then, of course, you have Pocahontas, who had the longest one and still didn't mention Trump. For 2 excruciating years, I have called for the return of the hostages brutally kidnapped on October 7th and held in Gaza. Today is a good day. Surviving Israeli hostages are finally home and reuniting with loved ones. I'm thinking of them and their families on this joyful day and praying for their full recovery. I'm also grieving for all those who can't come home today. Today must also be an important step toward lasting peace in the region. Peace for both Israelis and Palestinians. We must end the war in Gaza, surge humanitarian aid, and negotiate a 2-state solution now. No mention of Trump. Even Andy No right here. Why didn't you thank the current administration that brokered the difficult deal? President Biden failed to do it. That's the thing that gets me about this stuff, right? Do you think they wouldn't mention Biden if it was Biden getting this job done? Biden getting the deal done? They would be praising him like he's a god right now. But they can't give Trump any credit. And this is why the left is losing. You got to give credit where credit is due. You know? Like when Biden's administration has gotten ceasefires done before, I gave him credit for it, even though they unfortunately didn't last too long. Because I think war is a bad thing. War should not exist anywhere in the world. And anytime someone can influence the end of a war, they should be praised for that. This is something Trump has been trying to work on for months. He's been dealing with both sides, driving him insane, going back and forth. And he was finally able to get this done, and he deserves 100% credit for that. And I think it's shameful that these people who have been pushing for this, supposedly, aren't saying anything about it. You know, it's and there's been a lot of liberals like Harry Sissons and all of them who have been making posts on X that are like, oh, well, Joe Biden released more hostages. Like that'll be like all they say. Bro, you can't just be happy that there's this peace deal in the making that's unheard of. Peace in the Middle East is absolutely unheard of. You can't give a compliment to that. Like you're that like partisan. Like it's insane. The way these people think they're so full of TDS that they can't even give credit where credit's due. This is a good day. I am very optimistic about this. I've been skeptical about everything going on with the whole Israel-Gaza thing because this seemed like it was going nowhere. So I'm very optimistic about this, and I think this could lead to something really good as long as both sides stay at ease. The rest of the Middle East helps out rebuild the mess that is Gaza right now. I think like 90% of the buildings are destroyed. It's really sad to see like the rubble of what's just happened there in the last 2 years. So hopefully they all can help rebuild that. I'd prefer us not to spend money on it, but you know, we'll see what happens with that. From what my understanding is, they're pushing more for Egypt, I think, to do a lot of the funding, and maybe Saudi Arabia to fund a lot of it. And Hamas seems like they want Arab control anyway, so that would probably be better. And if a less Israeli control would probably be better for the Middle East too, to kind of just give up Gaza and just let them be their own thing. That would be the ultimate solution. And Hamas obviously needs to lose power. So I think it's ridiculous they can't give them credit where credit's due. I think this is a good day. Trump might have solved peace in the Middle East. That's just so crazy to think about. Like, there might actually be peace in the Middle East. That's such an insane thought. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below about this whole situation. If you think it'll stick, if you think it's only temporary, if you think one side's going to break or the other. Subscribe to my channel, subscribe to all my other social medias, like this video, and I'll catch you next time.